So again, our first car was 10 miles to the gallon. Then we went to the bus, and as I had just started saying in the last video, that our bus isn't really fuel efficient. It gets about 10 miles to the gallon. We're going to go the same path, so we're going 10 miles. So overall, this bus is burning 1 gallon of gas, which releases, recall, this 20 pounds of CO2. Now you may think, well, this isn't any different than driving a car. And you're right. It's still releasing the same amount of carbon dioxide. However, the difference is that on a bus, you typically have more people. So let's say we just had 10 people on the bus. So this bus went from point A to point B. It burned 1 gallon of gasoline, which released 20 pounds of carbon dioxide. But if you were driving your car, you're the one who's solely responsible for releasing 20 pounds of carbon dioxide. You were the one that released that. But on a bus with 10 people, you guys would split this carbon dioxide. So on a per person basis, we had 20 pounds. We're going to divide that by 10 for 10 people, which equals 2. So this is saying that each person on this bus, although the bus isn't very fuel efficient, each person is splitting that amount of carbon dioxide release. So if you drove your own car, you release 20 pounds of carbon dioxide. But if you share a bus with 9 other people, you're only releasing 2 pounds of carbon dioxide. Also, whether you ride the bus or not, the bus is still going to be running. It's still burning that gasoline, so might as well as take advantage of that instead of burning new gasoline. Now finally, if you wanted to not release any carbon dioxide, you could ride a bike or walk. Now granted, this is 10 miles. You may not want to ride a bike to school or walk to school, but in this way you're not burning fossil fuels at all, and so you're not releasing carbon dioxide. This is also the cheapest option. This is essentially free. Once you buy the bike, it's free. So you're not burning fuel and releasing carbon dioxide, and you're also not paying for any kind of gasoline. You may be breathing more as you jog or walk or ride your bike, and therefore releasing more carbon dioxide, but not nearly as much as if you were driving or riding the bus. Now, another way that we release carbon dioxide through burning fossil fuels is energy. And this is one that's a little harder to conceptualize because when you think of your car, you see that fossil fuel that you put into your car. But when you turn on the lights or go on your computer or watch TV, you don't imagine that. You don't see fossil fuels being burnt, but they are. The energy that is coming into your house or into the classroom is energy that was obtained from a power plant. Well, the way most power plants work is they're burning coal, which is a fossil fuel. They burn that coal and they create this energy that gets sent out to everyone on the power grid. So one way that we can reduce our greenhouse gas emissions is not use as much energy. If you're not using as much energy, then you're not going to be using as much coal or as much fossil fuels. So one way that was probably ingrained in you as a child is turn off devices that aren't in use. If the lights are on and you leave a room, turn the lights off. If the TV's on and you're no longer watching it, turn the TV off. Again, if these devices aren't on, then they're not using that much energy. So, therefore, you're not using as much energy, you're not burning as much coal, and not as much carbon dioxide is being released into the atmosphere. Now, I highly doubt any of you unplug your TV when you're done. It's just not convenient because if you want to watch it again, then you have to get up and you have to plug it in, etc. Or unplug the lamp or unplug your microwave. But most of these devices, if not all of these devices, even if they're plugged in, they are still drawing energy out of the power company. Now, it's definitely not as much when these devices are on, but when they are off, they are still drawing energy. That's why when your TV is plugged in and you push the power button, it comes on instantly because it already has a little bit of energy to kind of feel that. Now, I could say, oh, well, unplug your devices so you're not drawing energy, but I know you're not going to do that. You're not going to unplug your computer every day before you go to bed or unplug the TV every time you turn it off. I get that. However, if you're going to be out of town for a week, you're going on vacation or you're going on spring break or you're gone for a weekend, yeah, unplug as much as you can. It's, even a couple days makes a difference. Plus, it's not going to be inconvenient for you because you're not home. Now, when you get home, you need to plug it all back in, but you saved a couple days worth of energy. Now, for those of you who pay your own power bills, these steps alone, you'll start seeing a difference in your power bill. So even if you could care less about conserving energy and reducing greenhouse gas emissions, at least think about money. You're saving money by not spending as much on your power bill. Now, these two tips are ways to conserve energy. So you're using this energy anyway, but can we use it less often? Another way to conserve energy is to buy devices that are more energy efficient. Now, when we're talking about cars, there's some cars that get 10 miles to the gallon, which really isn't that great, but there's others that are more fuel efficient because they can get more miles per gallon. So they get 50 miles per gallon. It's the same thing with our electronics. So buying an LED TV is actually very energy efficient. Sure, you can run it the same amount as an LCD TV or a tube TV, but it uses less energy and gives you the same amount of output. You may have seen a lot of the fuel efficient or energy efficient light bulbs. So there's this one pictured here. You've probably seen the other ones that are kind of a curly Q. So what these light bulbs are is in this green light bulb it says 20W or 20 watts. That refers to your old-fashioned light bulb and you put it into the lamp and it uses 20 watts of energy. Well, these new light bulbs will give you the same amount of light, but they use less energy to give you that same product. So in this case, this energy efficient light bulb uses 4.4 watts of energy, and that gives us the same output as a bulb with 20 watts of energy. So you have the same end product, but it uses a lot less energy. So now we're getting energy efficient. You'll also see on appliances such as stoves or fridges or dishwashers this Energy Star rating. This is a company who is deeming these appliances as being energy efficient because they use less energy, less power, less electricity, but it still washes your dishes, it still keeps your food cold, it still washes your clothes. So it's still doing the same end product, but uses a lot less energy. And if you guys are interested in any more ways that you can reduce your power bills, check out this website down here. Now this next step is a little harder for us to do because these require building renewable sources of energy. So fossil fuels are non-renewable, meaning that it will take millions and millions of years before that oil, that coal, that natural gas to come back. However, there are ways to obtain energy to turn our lights on, to run our TV using renewable resources. So here we have a turbine, wind turbines that use wind energy to run electricity through the grid. Here we have solar panels that obtain solar energy. This is a hydroelectric dam like the Hoover Dam that uses water that's going from a high area to a low area to produce energy. They also have turbines underwater that use the tides and currents as energy. So all of these things aren't using fossil fuels. It's using a resource that's going to be there. It's always going to be windy at some point. Now, it may not be windy 24/7, but that wind's going to come back. We're not using up the wind or using up the sunlight or using up the water. Now, obviously, unless you own an ocean, you're not going to be able to put these tidal turbines in your, backyard. But if you have a large piece of land, you can put a wind turbine up. Most of you guys, if you have a house, you can probably put solar panels on your roof. So again, these are more feasible on the government scale and large scale, but know that these are alternatives to burning fossil fuels. Now, I mentioned earlier, we talked about carbon dioxide a lot because it's the greenhouse gas that humans produce the most, but we also had methane. And recall that methane came from anaerobic respiration. It's used by organisms that don't have access to oxygen, so they break down carbon dioxide to release methane. So examples of this were cows, so the digestive system of cows releases methane. We also had rice cultivation. We also talked about the permafrost melting. The major way that we can reduce our emissions is through food. So you can follow what Chick-fil-A says and eat more chicken. If we don't eat as much cows, there's not going to be a demand for it. Farmers aren't going to keep having their cows reproduce and keep buying cows if no one is eating cows. So obviously there is no way in the world we can get everyone in the world to stop eating beef. But if you opt out for a burger, for a chicken sandwich, it makes a small difference. If you can influence others to do the same thing, it'll start making a difference. Now, I'm not saying go full vegetarian, it's just avoid cows. The last thing that you can do is political action. So here you know all of these tips. You know why greenhouse gases are bad, and you know that we are affecting greenhouse gases. So now do something about it. Sure, you can change your habits at home, but why not try to communicate with political leaders, senators, congressmen. In this picture, you have your school officials that you're trying to incentivize to stop using fossil fuels. Now, and I'm included, this isn't something that I'm likely to do. Yes, I'm passionate about the environment. Yes, I think this is a big deal, but I don't have the time or patience to be lobbying or anything. However, what I can do is try to influence you guys and try to inspire you guys to find this to be also a big deal and to start changing your habits a little bit in order to make a difference. If all 7 billion people in the world could care less about their greenhouse gas emissions, we're screwed. If no one cared and only one person cared, yes, that one person is going to make a difference, but it is going to be a very, very small amount. So the point is you're trying to spread the word and tell people. Take time at your Thanksgiving dinner or at your Christmas dinner. I spend all of my holidays telling my family what we can be doing better and whatnot. Granted, they probably don't listen to me as much, but the point is I'm telling them and I'm trying to influence them and inspire them. So I encourage you to do the same. Take some of these tips and add it to your daily lives, but try to add it to the daily lives of others. And even if, again, you don't believe in this or you think it's a load of crap or you could care less, all of these ways will help you save money. So if you don't care about the environment, at least care about money. So that ends this lecture. So this was the remaining lecture from week 3. I'm going to end the video here and then we're going to go move on to the week 4 materials.